care about the future, cause they live it in the past. Sal and Kurt are taking all 5 seasons of Blossom to task. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be weak in the knees. This show's got more range than Nick on the keys. Only gal in the house, and that's how she goes. One brother was a junkie and the other one was. Weekly lessons coming fast in the Russo flat. Blossom's teenage girl problems are as big as her hat. So take your opinionations and make them shine. It's the OK Bloomer podcast, and it's about damn time.
Don't know. Don't know.
Bring it home, season 1, 13 episodes up, 13 episodes down.
That is it. Now, I really am itching to get into it, but before we start, I just want to address something, if that's cool with you.
Go ahead.
I want to take Arlene McCafferty out of the pit, just for a quick second.
You're dragging Arlene back out?
Yeah, I got to address something, and you probably know where I'm going with this because we've talked about it through the week.
I don't. Okay. Are you still mad at me?
No, not at all. I was never mad at you, man. It was
Okay.
I edit these episodes, obviously, right? Because as you've stated in the past, we're not doing this for the money. We're doing it because it needs to be done. And let me add on to
for the
that.
love of Blossom.
Exactly. We're doing this podcast because it needs to be done right. I'll just leave it at that.
Where are you going, Sal?
So it's a 2-man operation here. So I edit the episodes together, and I couldn't help but feel like I came across as kind of an ass with my whole stance on the Arlene McCafferty and Nick situation in last episode. I just want to clarify something off the top.
All right, sure.
The show has given me no reason so far to assume that Nick Russo is a complete scumbag. But if he deceived Arlene in any way, especially deceived her into sex, then that's not right. That's not right. So I just want to come out and say that.
Your fiance listened to episode 12,
She
didn't
did.
she?
She got very mad at me. No, that's not what I felt like I came across like an asshole in my stance. I will say this though. She worked in a restaurant with Nick, and I'm assuming she banged him after they met for the first time, so there really was no reason in that situation for Nick to not think that it wasn't a one-night stand. I'll just say that. But it's not cool to lie and deceive somebody into sex.
You threw me way off, man. Good on you. Good,
I'm tying a bow on the situation.
I'm sorry if I came across holier than thou. It's none of my business what people do and choose to not do, and power to you.
It's just amazing how this podcast is becoming kind of therapeutic for us in a very strange way.
I was actually going to say that later as we burn down the final episode. I've been thinking a lot about my time in high school and the stuff I was going through, and it's bizarre. I didn't expect that as part of this journey. Wasn't quite in high school when Blossom was in high school, but I'm still older than you.
Right.
So I'm still kind of remembering further down the 90s and, just kind of, not a lot has changed. High school is still high school, I imagine. So
right.
It's fun reliving some of those memories, and this was a good one. I enjoyed this one. This one brought up a lot of trauma of getting your heart ripped out in high school.
Let's just dive into it. We're talking season 1, episode 13. It's the last episode of season 1.
I'm afraid after we were on so opposite ends that you're going to end up calling me a little bitch tonight.
No, I promise I
won't.
Be like, I promise I won't.
You know what could have fixed that, Anderson? You know what could have fixed that? Like 13 one-night stands in a row. And I'd be like, I guess.
Man, it's not.
I guess.
It's not.
You don't need to call him back. I don't care.
No, that's not what I'm getting at all. I was trying to agree with you from last week.
See, and I showed up wanting to agree with you a little more.
Well, there you go. That's the beauty of this podcast, is that we watch these episodes and then we have our instant opinions about it, and sometimes they're the complete opposite, and then we end up looking at situations a completely different way.
We took a Blossom podcast and just kind of took it next level, and that's what a good podcast should be. I mean, anybody can just talk about what they're seeing on the screen, but to have it actually, like, for lack of a better word, penetrate that hard that
right.
We discussed it and learned a lot about each other and ourselves, I think. And that's not some like cheesy end of the show Blossom line either. Like it was good. Like you said, it was almost therapeutic. I was like, man, why do I have these feelings? I mean, I got married when I was 20, man. I started dating this girl when I was 19. We got engaged and I got married when I was 20. So I missed a whole lot of that part of my life. So if that's why I'm a little judgy, that's probably on me, man. I didn't have a lot of these experiences that normal people have because
right.
I was already married for 10 years by the time I was 30. So I want to talk about high school breakups, man. Let's do this.
So this is the season finale of season 1, episode 13, titled Love Stinks. First aired April 29th, 1991. Let's get into dual synopses. Disney Plus said, the men try to cure Blossom's broken heart.
Okay.
TV Database says, it's bye-bye love for Blossom when a guy she's been yearning to see again tells her he's found someone else.
Can I add something else?
Go for it.
How about the trifecta? Because over on imdb.com,
Oh.
it says, Blossom is devastated after being dumped by a former boyfriend who had recently returned from college and met someone else. Huh?
Maybe we should be going with those ones.
I was very happy I stumbled upon this. I stumbled upon this because I saw that the writer, Rochelle Rosette Schaefer,
Yes.
I was like, which ones has she written before? And talk about full circle. She wrote the pilot, she wrote Love Stinks, and then she wrote one in the middle, Thanks for the Memorex.
Wow. Oh, that's
Right?
right. That's right.
Yeah. So they brought her back for the end. They let her kick it off, and the pilot was amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks for the Memorex, I think, was one of the strongest episodes they did that had real family devastating emotions. I really like that episode.
Heavy stuff in that one.
Right? And here we have another one.
All right,
So,
well, let's preface this episode by did you love it or hate it?
I don't want to use those two words. I want to say, well, definitely loved it.
All
but
right. I was actually just looking to see if you gave this one a thumbs up or thumbs down.
I gave this one mostly a thumbs up, but we'll get into it. It was all over the place, like a lot of those episodes that fortunately are, but it did more right than wrong, I think.
All right, well then this is going to be an interesting episode because I give this episode a thumbs down. This might be my least favorite episode of season 1.
Wow. They did not stick the landing, I'll tell you that.
No, not at all.
Outside of that, maybe I'm just remembering it wrong.
Start us from the very beginning. Kick it off, Curtis.
All right. It asks if I want to skip the intro. For the last time, I celebrate Blossom treating her bedroom chair like her father treats the Irish waitress. I do not skip the intro. Blossom is wearing Sam the Snowman from Rudolph's hat. Pull up an iceberg. Blossom is eating with Ricky. Someone took the Sharpie and crossed out Bobby on the script and decided, no, let's do a Ricky this time.
Yeah.
That was how the show starts. She's eating with Ricky.
And as the episode starts, the first thought in my head is this is definitely a dream.
Yes.
I don't know why. It was just, maybe it was because of the way that they ridiculously unfolded their napkins. But I wrote, the scene opens with Blossom and a much older looking guy in the only restaurant set this show has.
Blossom and Ricky are about to make love right there on the table when her dad wakes her up.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I was just slow clapping. So we're starting with the dream sequence. Having young women dreaming about sex isn't something you saw every day on sitcoms in 1991.
Right.
Blossom equals progressive.
The reason that we could tell that this was a dream scene is because it was just so over the top with the affection for each other.
Yeah.
And then at the very end they basically slide everything off the table and they're about to go at it, and then Nick pops up from under the table wearing his bathrobe.
Yeah.
And this part was kind of funny because Blossom just kept pushing his head down under the table, and he kept popping back up.
As you do.
Yeah.
So, then Nick wakes her up,
Yeah.
and she says she was having a dream. He asks if he was in it. She says, unfortunately, yes. And that was the payoff of the scene. I did comment that a lot of these scenes end on a very, very soft note. There's no real punchline.
Yeah, I did notice that, especially later on.
You know what, Sal?
What's up?
Maybe I hated this one too.
I'm telling you, man. I
was so excited to do the show again tonight after last week.
I was too, because I thought that we both were gonna hate it.
We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I watched this a few days ago and took notes.
Yeah.
So it's not completely fresh in my mind, but all tonight at work I was like, oh, I'm so pumped to do this show again because last time it was so fun. And... Okay. So so far I do not like this episode apparently.
You're finally coming around as you're talking
I don't
it
know,
out.
man. Yeah.
It's the effect that I have on people. I usually make people very negative.
Well, I'm just happy you called me back.
Dude, I wasn't mad at you. I thought it was great. I had a great time last time we did this.
No, I meant because you apparently didn't call everyone back.
Oh,
so I'm
yeah.
glad you
Well,
called
that's
me
true.
back.
That's true. Man, I thought I already redeemed myself off the top. Why do you keep dragging me back into
I
this?
feel like episode 12 is just going to set the tone for the next, 100 episodes. We're never going to get past Arlene McCafferty. She was... Who knew when we started episode 12, Arlene McCafferty was going to be the most polarizing character.
The
of
Irish
Blossom
lass.
Season 1. Right? Can we put her back in the pit?
Yeah.
She's the first person we've dragged out of the pit. Well,
I
I mean,
know.
that's not true. I dragged
You
what's
drag
his
Bobby
face?
out of the pit every single
goddamn
week we do this.
I have a friend that's on some of the crews of the mobile TV productions, and he loves our cast. And he was like, dude, I had no idea who Steven Dorff was until you pointed him out, and now I see him on everything.
Right?
And I was like, mission
It's
accomplished.
true. Who's the person that listens to the cast? Shout out to them.
Shout out to Kyle.
Kyle. Shout out.
Kyle, liking the cast, liking Steven Dorff. I've done my work.
Your work here's done.
This was secretly a vehicle to just talk about Steven Dorff in the Aerosmith video for Crying.
Yeah, we're not even doing season 2 of Blossom. We're just gonna
No.
start breaking down Steven Dorff's career.
Just side quest. Today we're gonna review the music video for Britney Spears' Every Time, starring Steven Dorff. Okay.
Today on the podcast, we're interviewing Beth, who saw Steven Dorff at a Jamba Juice last week. Dorff Watch. Okay, so yeah, that's
Okay.
the end of the first scene. So the next scene I called Chaos at the Kitchen Counter.
That's good stuff.
The 3 men are standing around the kitchen counter, and they're all frantically getting their breakfast together. And then they all take a sip of coffee at the same time and then immediately start talking over one another.
I wrote, this is like watching my marriage on an episode of Blossom. Just talking over top of each other and drinking coffee. That's
A morning in the life of the Andersons.
pretty much.
Yeah, fair enough.
Nick pulls rank and says, he's the father and owns the house, so he will talk. All right, buddy, settle down.
Yeah,
He has a date with Sheila tomorrow
you know what,
night.
man? I will give it to you. I'm really kind of starting to turn on Nick Russo now.
Thank you.
I wrote it this part, how he said he's the father, he owns the house, and it is God-given right. I was like, the last of his kind. He's truly the last of the 50s father, for better or worse.
Totally.
You know?
Oh.
A sitcom dad would not be like this today. The sitcom
No.
dad now is like the Phil Dunphy, like bumbling idiot.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
That's not how it used
Like
to
the
be.
hard ass, like 1950s father is just
That's
like,
dead.
it's not a thing anymore. I'm really starting to,
Yeah.
it's really starting to irk me about Nick.
Oh, yeah, man. Back in the day, it was like, okay, kids, your father's coming home. He's probably had a long day at the office, so remember, no eye contact. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And dads these days like, dude, I'm a douchebag.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Here's my world's greatest cook t-shirt.
I think it took me till like the end of season 1 for you to finally tip the scales on my opinion of Nick Russo. But here we go.
All right. So Sheila is coming to the house so he can cook dinner for her. And Anthony asks, what are you going to burn for her? Which I thought was actually really funny.
His look to Joey was good here.
Yeah. Then Blossom shows up and she's all relaxed and smiley. And I think she was ringing the devil's doorbell before she came down for breakfast.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
after that dream. So Nick bargains with the kids to leave the house. Then Anthony begins this weird side thing that continues all through the episode where he's like, I'm going to go skydiving.
Yeah.
And I don't really get the payoff, but we'll get to that. But every time we see Anthony all through the episode, he has a new dangerous task he wants to do.
Yeah.
So we start, he wants to go skydiving. Joey has a baseball game and won't make it for dinner. Blossom is sitting there smoking imaginary cigarettes. And then she gets up and she goes back upstairs for round 2, I guess.
Yeah, this whole thing was like, everybody was kind of frantic, and then Blossom came into the kitchen, and she was just kind of like floating and just kind of just
Right?
numb to everything. 'cause-
All relaxed.
yeah, I mean, I wasn't thinking about the devil's doorbell thing, and I don't really want to, about Blossom.
You're welcome.
But you're probably right. If we just rewind a little bit, Nick is really invested in this date with Sheila. He says he has a a feeling about her like how he used to for the mother. And Tony says to him, look how that turned out. Touche.
Yeah.
And then we find out in this episode how Nick gets rid of his children while he's trying to slay. He pays them off. Apparently they have a going rate of $10, but Joey brilliantly negotiates for 15 by saying he'll come home early and bring his friends.
Again, these jokes are like 3/4 baked.
Yeah, agreed.
None of them really pay off. They just don't hit, and I don't know why.
And you're right about like the buttons on the end of every scene. I always found like they weren't that good, and there's one that really stood out to me later. If I can end up remembering.
Yeah, no, we'll get there. So Ricky Johnson is back from college, and I wrote, "Do they mean Bobby?"
Yeah, right.
And then Nick says he's back, and he starts getting all anxious. He's like, "I thought it would be 4 years." Anthony says it was college, not the big house. The crowd totally pity laughs, and that's the end of the scene.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the closer.
And then I wrote at the end of this scene, why is a college student dating a 14-year-old? That's illegal.
Right? And these are weak finishers.
Yeah. This whole storyline is off-putting to me already, off the top.
When did Ricky Johnson come into the picture the first time? This is the first time I'm hearing of this Ricky Johnson, and I feel like I've been with Blossom for the last 12 episodes.
I know, I was going to get to that too, is like, there's no mention of him at all that she has a boyfriend who's away in college, and then what does that mean for Bobby? I'll bring up Bobby in this episode. What does that mean for him? Does she just have guys all over the country that are just, she's just dating and they're pen pals?
Because I would assume this happened, I don't know, before the story started, before the series started, or else we would have heard about him, right?
I just feel like there's no continuity with this. It doesn't make sense at all, and I don't like it. It's weird that she's dating a college guy all of a sudden.
And she would have basically been trying to cheat on him since the show began.
Yeah, exactly. So
13 episodes ago.
Exactly. That was my exact thoughts on this, and this is why I did not like this episode at all. It just seemed so out of the blue and not a part of, not fitting
canon.
Yeah,
not canon.
Yeah, it's not canon. I don't like it.
I'm kind of turning on this. I don't know why. To be honest, I wrote notes for the first probably 2/3 of it like a week ago, and then I just finished it up the other day. So maybe I kind of liked most of the ending, except for the actual ending. We'll see where this goes. Okay, back upstairs.
Yeah, later on, it's at nighttime now. Blossom and Six are in Blossom's room, and Blossom's reading her a letter from Ricky.
Yeah, and I said, Blossom puts on a stupid hat. I feel like this is the gateway.
In the letter, he said that he's going to take her out to dinner, and Blossom and Six are really excited, and there's big emphasis here on the fact that he wrote love, Ricky. Six's grandma's the only one who signs love in letters to her, but at least she throws in $5 and really scary articles about teen sex.
Give her hell, Six.
Yeah, and then this is the part where Blossom's trying on a slew of Blossom hats for the date, and she starts out with the most Blossomest hat I've ever seen.
Yeah, and I feel like this was where it began, where they were like, hats have to be a thing, because it's been pretty low-key up until now, but now she's trying on dumb hats.
She was like the fashion icon for these hats, and it wasn't really apparent in season 1, but yeah, you're right, this is probably the start of it. Because she's going through, she wears like a beret with like a big flower on the top.
Well, Six says she should go for something a little more kiss me goodnight. Blossom says, I'll say that with my shoes, and what?
Yeah.
Is that funny?
No. I mean, not to me.
No, but then she tries a beret and then a ball cap, and Six says, to Murphy Brown, and there's a reference.
Right.
How about no hat? Don't get cocky. And that's the end of the scene.
And that's not funny either. What, like...
No.
She's cocky if she doesn't wear a hat? Like...
Is she balding?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I wear a hat because I'm bald.
Yeah, right?
I feel like if I didn't wear a hat, I'd be feeling cocky that day. But for Blossom, like, it makes no sense.
Hey, you can't call yourself cocky, Sel. To go back to the oldest inside joke between us.
Oh my God, it happened. It finally happened. Because you called yourself cocky in your yearbook, and I called you out on that shit.
Well, when we first met each other, we would always make fun of who was the artist? Ricky, what was his name? The guy from Take That went on to have a
Robbie Williams.
Robbie Williams. I saw an interview on Much Music with him where the VJ was like, Robbie Williams, you're kind of a bad boy. Why don't people like you? And he goes, oh, it's because I'm cocky. I was like, dude, you can't call yourself cocky. And that was always the thing. For the 6 years we worked together, we'd always be like, it's because I'm cocky. You can't call yourself cocky. That was the constantly ongoing joke. And then I screenshotted my yearbook, and there was my quote, calling myself cocky. One of the biggest payoffs of my life.
And now you called me out on it.
Yeah. You just called yourself cocky.
That's a slow clap for that one, bro. Well done.
Perfect. It's full circle, just like episode 13 of Blossom.
Is that good podcasting to bring other people in on an inside joke that probably makes no sense to them at all?
I think so.
Even as we explain it.
Explaining jokes is the best part.
I just love the fact that he probably didn't say it in that way at all, but we totally evolved it into it's 'cause I'm cocky.
It's 'cause I'm cocky. I love Robbie Williams.
You're not allowed to call yourself cocky.
No one is. Downstairs, Nick is stressing to Anthony about Blossom. He'd give anything to keep her from going out with this guy again. And I said, I don't want to bring up last week, but dude, why don't you lead by example?
No, but I mean,
he's kicking the kids out of the house so he can screw and sleep with some girl, and he doesn't even want Blossom going on a date.
Yeah, but he doesn't want her going on a date for not the reason you would think that it would be, which doesn't make sense, because he doesn't want Blossom to date at all, and now all of a sudden he's cool with the fact that she's dating some dude who's in college, and he starts telling a story about how boy meets girl, boy goes to college and meets another girl, and the girl in college is Belinda the vixen who follows the boy around even though he has a girl named Mary back at home.
Yeah, that's all to set up Anthony saying, I bet Belinda is built, and Nick says,
like the World Trade Centers.
Ouch.
Apparently Nick was the guy in this story who went off to college and cheated on a girl that he was leaving back home. But again, why is this Nick's stance? He doesn't want Blossom to date at all, and now he's like, oh, I don't want Blossom to get hurt by this guy who's gone off to college and is banging other girls. It makes no sense. That doesn't add up to the Nick character so far at all.
I will point out, though, that I think instead of trying to cut out that joke, did you notice that the audience laughs really hard over top Anthony's pervy joke? When he goes, I bet Belinda is built, all of a sudden the audience laughter is way louder than any other part of the show, and then it's they tried to drown out the World Trade reference.
Oh, maybe. I think you're right,
because they're laughing over top of when he says that, the World Trade.
Right.
And normally that would be the payoff in Blossom World, right? That would have been the punchline.
You're right, because when he said it, it wasn't very audible.
No, but you heard it. And I was like, oh my god, you left that in?
Yeah.
But
he's so worried about Blossom having sex with guys she dates from her school, but he has no problem with Blossom dating a guy who's in college. It just does not seem on character for Nick at all.
But that's always been his biggest thing. The next thing, the scene ends where he goes, he's so paranoid about Blossom hooking up, he wants to lock her in her room. And Anthony basically says, then she'll just become Rapunzel. Right. And then the music and the laugh track ramp up as Nick nods, and once again, low ball ending to the scene.
Not a great button on the scene. The story about the vixen Belinda and Mary, the girl back at home, Nick was alluding that it was him in this situation. Nick said that Mary ended up in a sane asylum, but then turned out fine. See, I'm starting to turn on Nick Russo, man.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that at all.
Tony asked him what happened to Mary, and he said, she was in an insane asylum for a while, but she turned out fine.
Huh.
What the hell does he do to these women?
Just you wait. He gets some of his Nick Russo medicine a little later.
Yeah, right.
Let's go straight up 1991 homophobic, shall we?
Yeah.
Oh my god, Sal.
The look on the kid's face though was so good.
No, you're right, man. This episode sucked.
Right?
This episode was trash.
I
Sal.
know, man. I know.
What was I thinking about? This episode is horrific. We've already gone through Nick's psychosis about paying his kids to leave the house so he can bang some girl.
Right.
At the same time, he's just like chewing his fingernails over the thought of Blossom going out for supper with some dude.
Yeah.
Now let's go to the locker room, shall we? Joey's friend Ricky. Ricky, that's dating Blossom, comes into the baseball locker room. And Joey is all, "Are you going to play? Because we could sure use your help." And Ricky's like, "Yo, I'm seeing someone else." And then this guy putting his pants on in between the two of them is flabbergasted because being gay in 1991 was played for laughs on television.
Yeah.
Because
So
he
thinks that Ricky's breaking up with Joey, and he's horrified at the fact that these two were even dating in the first place, clearly. But the kid's face is hilarious.
I'll give you that. So the guy putting on his pants becomes frantic. He finishes dressing and runs out of the locker room.
Yeah.
I wrote, care to dive into that one, or should we just move on, Sal?
Well, basically here Ricky's saying that he's met someone else while he's in college, and he's changed as a person, and he's going to take Blossom out to dinner that night and break up with her. And Joey's pretty pissed about it.
I did write, though, when that guy finished putting his pants on and ran out, I said, was he running because he wanted to gossip about this, or was he running because in 1991 gay men were characterized as rampant sex fiends, and this guy assumed if he was in the same room as a homosexual man, he was about to get assaulted?
I mean, his pants were down.
That's right. So it's really weird to watch jokes like these in 2021.
Yeah, there's a lot of undertones of homophobia here.
Oh, man. The whole joke was...
Like, that is the joke, is that, you know, like, he's horrified the fact that they were dating and breaking up in front of him. But his face is just so f***ing funny.
I wish the writer, she would have known in 1991 how the world would evolve with homosexuality and what would happen to the World Trade Center as she was writing this. I just wish she had some way of knowing what would happen in the future.
It's so true. It's so true.
Just some sort of like Christmas Carol-esque where she falls asleep with the script underneath her head. They're like, wake up! It's not too late to change. And she's like, no, I'm keeping the jokes, keeping them in. Like, history will not look kindly upon you, Rochelle. Nah, we'll be fine.
I'm sure it'll be fine. So at this point in my notes I wrote, where did Ricky go to college with this accent? Because it sounds like he went to Brooklyn 1937.
Right? Oh, that's
He's
good stuff.
Ricky Soprano over here wearing Ernie's shirt.
Forget about it.
Yeah, right.
I found his voice very distracting, to be honest. I don't think I ever wrote that down, but he was just like, come on, Joe.
Yeah.
These things happen. I'm just a man.
Gabagoo.
That's offensive.
Hey, I'm Italian.
Like,
it's all right.
He's taken Joey over to like the side of the room that has the air conditioner in case the place is bugged. I wrote, I guess this guy is dating Blossom and now he's dating someone else. I said, what is happening? Joey tells him, don't tell Blossom, just go back to college, and in a few years, we'll tell Blossom you died in a plane crash in the Andes, and your teammates had to eat you. I said, dark joke, and nod to the amazing movie Alive. That was a big TV event around that time.
Oh, yeah?
I remember that as a kid and being terrified of planes and plane crashes. That didn't help my fear of already flying.
Right.
There used to be like TV moments. I don't know if you were probably caught the tail end of that, but there were huge TV events in like the early 90s, and I can remember. I remember like the Michael Jackson video for Black or White was an event. Like everybody tuned in like Monday at 8 after some show to watch the like world debut. It ran on like network television.
Wow.
And yeah, they had pumped the tires of this movie Alive about this plane crash where they had to like cook one of the bodies and eat it to stay alive.
Holy crap.
Oh yeah, those were like the water cooler shows, right?
Yeah.
It was like that's what everybody was talking about for a week, and like as kids, you was like, "Oh man, your parents let you watch it." Like, "Oh, so gross. They cooked this dead dude." And I was like, "No, don't tell me about it." Ricky's like, "I still care about Blossom, but like how a brother cares for a sister." And then Joey gets super dark and intense and says, "No, I care about her like how a brother cares for a sister." And I wrote, is that a mic drop? Joey is her brother. Yeah. I don't know. That wasn't the knockout punch the actors pretended it was.
Once again, another... I think... How many scenes have there been so far? Because I think
like
it's
4 of just low ball endings.
So Tony and Nick are in the kitchen. Nick's making homemade ravioli. And once again said there's something special about Sheila.
Are they spoofing an ad or something?
Yeah, I don't know. The way that he says it is super weird every time.
It was so over the top the way they were doing this scene. I don't get what's going on. Joey comes home and Blossom's home, and Joey, is like, he tells Nick, and then Nick wants to tell Blossom not to go to dinner with Ricky and get her heart broken.
Right.
So he goes into the living room, and Blossom is showing off her dress, and Mayim is being absolutely adorable in the scene. She is killing the scene with her like excited and nervous energy and ear-to-ear smile. I'm actually heartbroken for what's about to happen to her. So huge acting props.
Wow,
To
yeah.
Mayim on this scene. I thought she nailed the energy of being teenager and in that situation. Ricky shows up and he's like, "Hey, you ready to go for dinner?"
Yeah, but he knocks on the door and then walks right in. Excuse me, bro? Excuse me? Or your f***ing manners.
Hey, man. He's like, "Yo, Nick, you know what I'm going to do to your daughter tonight?"
The same thing that you do to women.
See, right? See how I didn't even ask? I just entered.
What's with the accent, man? Like, what's with the New York accent?
I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah.
Carmela, shut your mouth. But there's a great moment where he's like, "All right, let's go, Blossom." And then we get a cutaway to like Nick looking upset, but then Anthony and Joey are also standing beside Nick like, "You son of a bitch."
Yeah, there's like a weird standoff.
They finally end a scene properly though, because I was like, okay, yeah, as your brother, you'd be like, "Fuck this guy."
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But you'd also let it happen.
With the look that they were like giving each other, it was like Ricky knew that they all knew what was about to go down.
Yeah, like everybody knew except for Blossom.
Yeah.
I thought that was really well done. So he takes her to dinner and dumps her. One gal in the audience somehow didn't see it coming and is like, "Oh, oh, oh, oh!" Like, where have you been? Have you been in the bathroom this whole time?
I just got in for the bathroom. What did I miss? Oh, it looks like Blossom's on a date. Wait, what's happening?
No!
No!
Just falls to her knees. This is where I wrote, Anthony has a running gag about doing dangerous things. I've ignored it so far, but I'm mentioning it now because it's going to lead to something later, like these things always do in an episode of Blossom.
Yeah, but much like their B or C plots, they don't really go anywhere and they don't really matter.
No.
So Blossom gets upset and then leaves the restaurant. And looks like Ricky's going to enter the pit early on in this episode.
Yeah, the pacing of this episode is just completely weird.
Yeah.
You know, like, why would he take her out to dinner to dump her at dinner?
Yeah.
It seems like the worst possible time to do it.
Yeah, and the table behind them that looked like they were from Little House on the Prairie seemed to think the same thing too.
Background actors, man. They're like, "I'm going to eat this scene up. I'm going to be a character worthy of the pit in season 2.
Now that I think back on it, I'm pretty sure it was like an old man and like some teenage girl at the table. So I don't even want to know what's going on in that story.
Oh no, that's the real story of this episode.
I'm glad Raquel didn't write that into this episode.
She insinuated, though.
Hey, you know, we were dating, Blossom, and now we gotta break up. Bada bing, bada boom, that's it.
What's the matter with you?
Yeah, what's the matter?
Hey, you're trying to drag me down. I got more girls back at college. A capiche?
I only dated you because I wanted a fedora to go with my Tommy gun. Man, see?
Is it okay if we swing by the bank on Main and 7th on the way home? I got me a little date with that. Got me a little date with the safe, you know what I'm saying?
Stick 'em up, see?
I'm supposed to meet Bobby Fingers outside at 8, Blossom. It's just not gonna work out with you and I. Don't take it so hard. You could be swimming with the fishes. Huh?
He was in the mob. He was totally in the mob.
He was totally in the mob.
Yeah. His dad was Fat Tony.
I hate this episode, Sal. What was I thinking when we started?
I don't know, man.
I think I was just high off the buzz of episode 12, and I was like, this is going to be great. Oh, man, we're going to have so much fun in this episode. I'm not having fun. This episode sucks.
I feel like you're not having fun this week because I think you put so much hype behind episode 12.
But I was just, like, I was so excited to listen to episode 12, and you know, wanted to get back in this, but this episode just, there's nothing to go off of.
Yeah, it's not good, man. It's not a good finale.
Nah.
And it's not even a good episode. It just seems like such a filler episode to be the finale of season 1, to be like, hey, come back and watch season 2.
Especially with the ending.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if this show got canceled and it never came back for season 2 and that was how it ended? But we'll get to that. Nick is looking through the fridge and asking about all these weird ingredients, and Anthony keeps making stupid jokes.
Yeah.
And Joey's acting here is superb once again.
Right.
He's not angry because he doesn't get the jokes. He's angry because these jokes are dumb. And I'm angry because this episode is dumb. And I wrote here, I just figured out that Nick's Sheila is totally going to break up with him as well. Because this episode is Love Stinks. And it's going to end with him and Blossom consoling each other. I figured that's where it was going to go.
Fair enough. It's a good guess. I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
So Sheila likes Italian. Salicardo leans forward.
Yeah, suddenly I'm interested.
Tell me more about this Sheila.
Yeah, so that's her thing, and Joey says, well, if she likes Italian food, why don't you just open up a can of SpaghettiOs and rent The Godfather? That sounds pretty good to me.
I know. I was like, that's a good night at the Cardo house.
That's a Saturday night right there.
That's every Saturday night. And I thought you were like, oh, she likes Italians. Hey, all right, I'm gonna get Ricky whacked.
This is when Blossom comes into the kitchen, and Nick wants everybody to be extra sensitive to her, but she walks in and she's super happy, says she's feeling great, and everyone's kind of surprised by that.
And then she asks if she can help make the salad.
Yes.
And her anger bleeds through, and she tears the lettuce like a crazy person, and the audience laughs because having your heart fucking ripped out by someone who doesn't give a shit about you is hilarious.
Apparently. So she crushes the lettuce and the tomato into the bowl with her bare hands and then does like this crazy laugh and leaves. And that's the end of the scene.
I turned on the episode here, actually. I don't know what I was thinking. All my notes are like, I'm angry about this episode.
Yeah. Well,
like, seriously. Why is this being played off for laughs? Why is her broken heart hilarious? Why are they holding up the, like, laughter sign for the audience? Because I can't imagine they really would have thought that was funny on their own.
Yeah, well, it keeps coming back.
I don't get where the humor is coming from in this. This is such a bad script.
Agreed.
I liked something in here, though. I don't know where it is. I'm running out of notes. We're running out of time.
Well, let's keep going and maybe we'll find it. So next scene, Blossom's reading the newspaper on the couch. Joey comes in and he's just staring at her.
I feel like we're going to get a heartfelt moment between the two, and that's awesome because this has only happened once or twice so far during the run of the show.
Yeah, with
where
these two
Joey
characters,
and Blossom connect.
Yeah.
And this scene, to their credit, there is one long take. Props to Mayim and Joey Lawrence for pulling this off. From 1306 to 1406, 1 full minute of just ping-pong dialogue.
Wow, yeah, that's a long time.
And they're going back and forth and back and forth. Like, they knock that one scene out of the park. And I'm waiting for the, like, brother-sister, like, Joey's like, I'm sorry, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah, well,
they go in a completely
like
different direction.
They basically get into, like, a ridiculous argument because Joey's trying to start a conversation with her so it's not awkward, and he mentions how he struck out 3 times yesterday. And then Blossom gets mad and links it back to Ricky. She's mad at him and is like, oh, yeah, you talked about striking out and that playing baseball. And you know who else plays baseball? What's his name? Joey says, Oral Hersher.
That one went right over my head.
Yeah, I mean, it did for me, too, because I don't know baseball too well. But he was a major league pitcher from 1983 to the year 2000, and he played for the LA Dodgers until 1994. Tommy Lasorda nicknamed him the Bulldog for his slight frame and fierce competitive spirit.
I just wonder if he finds these little moments to, like, poke his brilliance through on these bad scripts.
I think so, man.
Do we want to talk about her getting her heart ripped out?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. So, why is this funny? Did you ever have your heart torn out in high school?
Oh, yeah.
Did you tear up lettuce while the audience laughed?
My audience didn't laugh.
No. This episode dragged me down a bit.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty depressing. I think I've shut the door on those traumas in my life, so.
But I was trying to think, I was like, when I was moping around the house being miserable, were like my family laughing at me like this? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Were they talking about me behind closed doors, being like, all right, don't set them off. I've never looked at it from the other people in my house's angle, you know?
Yeah, totally.
I dated one of the more popular girls, and obviously she broke up with me because I don't know if she just hadn't watched any, like, TV shows or movies where, like, attractive popular people are supposed to date other attractive popular people, which I was not. So it was like outrunning the Indiana Jones boulder the minute we started dating, but it didn't hurt any less when it finally happened. I was like, oh, I thought I could keep it going. Like, I lied to myself.
Right.
And yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks. I hadn't thought about that for a long time, right? To like being a teenager and actually, because I assume this guy is probably out of Blossom's league for the most part.
Yeah. But like, how does this keep happening to her with, like, especially with like
it is
older...
true, but I was looking at this episode just kind of in a bubble. And, you know, just that scene where she was so excited to, like, go on this date with him, and everyone knew she was about to get just completely destroyed emotionally.
Right.
And you're like, I wonder how many times we hung out where she was like, I gotta dump this guy. You know, trying to look at this from other people's perspectives.
Yeah, it's not fun. You'll kill yourself doing that, man. It's just torture.
And I knew this a long time ago, but it wasn't even dating the popular girl that was so crushing. It was losing the status, to be perfectly honest. And sorry if that makes me sound like a complete psychopath, but like, when you're dating the popular girl, man, you're untouchable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know who Adam Duritz is?
From the Counting Crows?
Yeah. Do you know what that guy looks like?
Yeah.
Like, what's your initial response when you see that guy? Your knee-jerk reaction. You're like, this guy's a loser, right?
Yeah.
And this guy has dated, like, Laura Flynn Boyle, like, Winona Ryder, Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, but dude,
Courtney Cox,
he's in a band. It doesn't count.
Mary Louise Parker, Christina Applegate. No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, you want to punch this guy in the face. And then you see the women he's dated, and you're like, I don't know how I feel about you now, right?
I guess so. I don't know, man. He's in a band. It is what it is.
No, but he's like the ugliest person in the world.
I've seen a lot worse date a lot better.
I don't know, man. He's like the barometer
Adam Duritz
for me.
from the Counting Crows is your go-to to be like, look what this guy could get.
Kind of.
That is so fascinating, man.
Well, it's like he's got this insane resume, and he is like, if I saw that guy and I didn't know who he was, I would probably point and laugh at him. If I saw this fat white guy with dreads,
Mr.
acting like a
chosen me,
acting like some
la
weird,
la 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 la.
You're making fun, but you're just proving my point.
Andy Samberg played him once on SNL, and it is amazing.
Why? Why is it amazing?
Because he looks stupid.
Thank you. This man is worthy of constant ridicule.
Yeah, but I love how
I don't care
of
if
all
he
the
can
people
sing.
in the world
This-
of all the people in the world who have like dated out of their league, Adam Duritz from the Counting Crows is like your main go-to.
Yes. Name me someone else who has dated more A-list celebrities than the guy that sings "Round Here." Like, you're trying to tell me those songs are strong enough that women are like, I don't care that you look like
He's
I
saying
don't know, the third boss from the main boss that gets killed in an action movie. You can't tell me "Round Here" is that good of a song. That Jennifer Aniston would be like, I'm gonna risk my entire career by dating this loser.
think of Jennifer Aniston going from him to Brad Pitt.
Right? Which is the point I'm getting at.
Who was your last boyfriend? Adam Duritz from the Counting Crows.
Brad Pitt would puke. He would be like, blah, and he'd just puke all over his like Armani suit. And he'd be like, oh my god, no. That's probably why they broke up. Could you imagine? Like, he'd be lying there in bed next to her just being like, Adam Duritz. Like, I don't get it, man. Right? So what's his deal?
Oh my god, that's so
This is what I mean. Like, he's untouchable.
Fair enough. Man.
He could make crappy music the rest of his life, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. True.
You know? Like, I would love to punch him in the face, but I kind of want to, like, give him a high five now. It's the weirdest thing. He's just this overachiever. He is so goddamn ugly. I wanted to somehow keep the lore going about, like, what's the deal with that guy? What's the it factor without dating the popular girl? And it didn't happen. So, while I was watching Blossom going like, yeah, that sucks. Because if she was, Blossom, she's this, like, band nerd, and she's dating this guy in college, that probably gave her some stroke around the old high school.
Yeah, but again, it's like, isn't it built this whole time that Blossom's like a loser and like, she's dating like this popular guy? Like, it makes no sense, man. It's not on character.
This one at least showed the, like, weight of someone dating out of their league getting crushed. Whereas, like, with Bobby, when he was the most popular guy in school, and she was like, well, bye.
Yeah.
I know?
Man. Yeah.
So it was like, at least they're showing the dynamic of Blossom, who isn't popular, dating someone who's super popular, and him kicking her to the curb because he doesn't care. Because he's got his pick of 1,000,000 girls, and she does not have her pick of 1,000,000 guys. Because I pointed that out at the beginning of episode 3. I said, if this episode doesn't start with her crying on the couch because the most popular guy in high school, Bobby, who usually just uses women for sex, fell in love with Blossom, didn't want to use her for sex, was genuinely interested in her, and then left for college, and she's not brokenhearted about winning that lottery, I'm calling BS. And in this next scene, Six wishes she was more jaded when Blossom's telling her about this, because all she knows about heartbreak is from country music. I'm fascinated that was still a thing back in 1991, and I still don't get it. Are there no pop songs about heartache? I've never understood why country music gets such a, like, shoehorned into, like, oh, it's just sad and about breakup, when, like, 90% of the hit songs are about breakups on the pop side of things.
It's probably just people's excuse because, like, I mean, I'm one of them. Like, I can't stand country music, but, like, that's a thing among people. It's like, oh, I hate country music. It's all depressing about, breakups and heartbreak and, driving your truck.
Yeah, screw that. Let's listen to mainstream music. Oh, yeah, it's Adele. Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
I don't know the next line, but
yeah.
I know it's about heartbreak. I don't have that much of a problem with country music. I don't really listen to country music, but I've found very good country music songs. I think I always said I could make, like, one solid, like, CD of probably 20 amazing country music songs. That'd be about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just not my thing.
That's fair.
If it's on, I'm uncomfortable. I gotta, like, change it. I know that's, like, such a... Wasn't there, like, a book or something, and it was, like, things white people say? And it was like, I like all music except country music.
Yeah, that's a pretty blanket statement.
That is, like, actually almost accurate for me, and I don't know why.
I don't...
Not for me.
I don't have that much of a problem with it. There's some country music songs and artists I actually enjoy.
All right. No, that's fair.
The whole point of this was I always find it fascinating that country music is always just crapped on because, oh, it's all about heartbreak and losing your loved one, when that's, like, totally what pop music is about.
You're right, but it does get this bad rap in that way.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that
I turned you around. Sal loves country music now.
No, I was going to say besides the fact that it's really f***ing annoying to listen to.
6 is like, this is incredible. For the last month, I've been jealous of you.
Yeah.
Ow.
What an asshole.
Right? And then Blossom opens up a hat box and is cutting up all her Ricky keepsakes.
Yeah.
Then Blossom kicks 6 out of the room.
Yeah, she gets mad at her for that comment and tries to kick her out. But then 6 actually has a kind of nice moment here.
Yeah.
And she tells
This is
Blossom,
what I thought was going to happen with Joey in the scene
Yeah.
before, which it did not.
No, but she basically tells Blossom, like, if you feel bad, like, don't feel bad about who you are as a person because you're just fine. And they hug, and the crowd goes, aww.
Yeah, so that was the first real Blossom and 6 moment. I kind of like that.
Yeah, it was nice.
So back downstairs, Anthony doing dangerous things climaxes with how he wants a checking account.
Yeah. If we rewind a little bit, Nick's cooking in the kitchen still, and it feels like he's been prepping this meal for Sheila for like 3 days.
Right?
And Tony's attached to his goddamn hip this entire episode. He's like standing right next to him every time he's cooking. Tony said he wants to go hang gliding, and Nick's whole response to every time he wants to do something crazy is like, fine. And then he says he's thinking about opening up a checking account, and Nick flies off the handle and is like, absolutely not. He's like, there's no way you're opening up a checking account. Tells him that it's too dangerous. And apparently Nick got in trouble last time because Tony bounced a bunch of checks.
And Anthony says, isn't it time to change the rules? And Nick says, I'll decide when it's time.
Because Nick's the man of the house and living in 1950.
And I was like, why does anyone talk to Nick? But then Anthony says, it's time. And Nick says, when you save $300, you can open an account. And Tony just whips out $350 in cash that he has in his front pocket.
Yeah.
And then Nick says, okay. And did you catch this? This may have been my favorite part of the episode. Nick looks at him all seriously and says, okay. And then, honest to God, one audience member goes,
yeah, I did notice
and
that.
And nobody else joined.
I did notice that.
He tried to get the slow clap.
One person
he tried to
clapping.
Get the slow clap going.
I totally.
I said, I don't know who you are, but you are a hero. I want to meet that man or woman. What happened in that moment?
Oh my
Does
God.
that failure haunt them to this day? Did they start slow clapping only to have an audience full of people slowly turn their heads and are like, you are dumb? And then they sat down, and that was the last time they tried anything.
I like to feel like a stagehand also ran up and was like, dude, not the time, sit down.
The cue card person went and broke the applause sign over their head. Like, did you see me put this up? You're out.
Yeah.
You're out of here. Get out of here.
Follow basic
Get her out of
orders,
here.
man. You don't get to choose when to clap. We tell you when to clap. So Nick tells him that he can open up the checking account. And apparently Tony's still working at the donut shop because it's referenced here. And then Nick asks if he can borrow some money. So he wants to take his former alcoholic son. He wants to take his hard-earned money to buy wine for his date.
Yeah, I said, here's this week's edition of Hypocrite Nick.
Yeah. Joey comes in and him and Tony are off to the movies because tonight is the night of Nick's big date.
Joey says, good luck, Dad. I hope you score. And Anthony says, he's kidding. We know you won't score. Hard cut to Nick banging his girlfriend in Anthony's bed in the room above the garage, wiping the sweat from his forehead with Anthony's pillow.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you think it's funny now, you little puke?
Yeah.
This place is going to reek like ravioli and sex when you get home from the movie. You're welcome.
So the next scene is Nick and Sheila on the date. And Sheila, oh my God, it's Jane Leaves.
I did not know who that was.
Really?
I was like, she looks so familiar, but I could not place her.
Oh, man.
I have to look her up.
I'm a huge Frasier nerd. It's Daphne
I
Moon.
actually remember her more from Seinfeld.
Yeah, well, she...
I've never seen an episode of Frasier, by the way.
Oh my God, Frasier is amazing, man. I loved it. But yeah, she's probably also more known for Marla Penny as the Virgin on Seinfeld.
Yep.
She's Nick's date in this one, and it seems like a virgin she is not.
No.
Nick's laying on the charm by playing the piano for her, and you can tell Sheila's instantly down. She is DTF.
Yeah,
Big
and she
time.
says she likes a man that knows his way around the kitchen and a piano. What else does he know his way around? And I said, cutting all ties the moment he's done sleeping with you, girl.
Yeah, but this is another example, man. I feel like, not defending Nick Russo, but like...
No, go ahead, man.
If you go to the house on the first date and are putting out these signals like that, you're basically giving off the vibes of one night stand. Is that not the vibe, you know?
Sure.
If it was like...
Fair enough.
If it was like you're building up like a couple dates, like 5, 6, 7 dates, and then he finally, they finally end up, it's
Yep.
like... And
No,
then
you're
if,
right.
and then
You're
if
right.
Nick Russo doesn't call, then yeah, he's kind of the asshole. But I feel like if you're showing up to the house and putting out these vibes on day one, there's a little bit of you're putting it out there a little bit. The implications are there.
Yeah, I feel like he wouldn't have had to prep food for 4 days to sleep with Daphne, so
Yeah,
there's a lot of lessons in this episode. Nick sets the mood by telling her how his daughter is upstairs and is suffering from her first heartbreak. And I said she starts taking her clothes off and is like, go on.
Yeah. But then did you notice this part? Sheila talks about how she recalls her first heartbreak.
Yeah, and who'd she get dumped for?
She said Wayne Deary tossed her aside for Brenda Hampton.
No way, did she?
You didn't hear that?
I didn't hear that.
She said Wayne Deary tossed her aside for Brenda Hampton.
What?
Yeah, man.
I was thrown off because she said because she had breasts.
Yeah, but she was talking about Brenda Hampton, man, your favorite writer thus far in the series.
Money. Brenda Hampton is on the outs. Like, we got to stick it to Brenda. Oh my god, I totally missed that.
Yeah, man. I thought you would have caught that for sure. I wrote it all in
I was
capitals.
still thinking about Counting Crows.
Well, she's the script supervisor, so they probably needed a name, and she's like, "Yeah, put my name in there."
Yeah,
Whatever.
put my name in there.
Yeah.
I'm the girl that had breasts. Make me the hero.
So yeah, Sheila slashed her tires. Then she goes on to talk about the other guys who wronged her. There was another guy who went away to summer camp and then said too bad about that canoeing accident, so she's a murderer. And she apparently banged Warren Beatty.
Yeah.
So this is the part where I wrote she played a virgin on Seinfeld, but clearly that is not the case in Blossom.
No. And I was trying to think, like, Warren Beatty was in the news in 1991-ish because Axl Rose took Stephanie Seymour from him.
Oh, yeah?
And I was like, what? Yeah, it's weird to bring up Warren Beatty. Wow, I missed the most important part of the show.
Yeah, I can't believe you skipped over Brenda Hampton, man.
I miss Brenda Hampton.
Well, there you
There's
go.
a lot going on. Like, I feel like this episode, they're just all winking at each other. I wonder if they thought this was it.
Maybe, you might be right.
I think that the Brenda Hampton joke kind of solidifies what I was not able to put into words. Is that, yeah, they're all kind of just have these jokes that don't mean anything to us, but they might mean something to, like, the writing staff and actors. And at this point, they're just like, I don't care. We're not coming back. You know, there's probably not going to be a season 2, so let's just, like, mess with each other and see. You know, we'll pop each other this last episode, and then we'll all go our separate ways and work on other projects.
Isn't that what we kind of did with our Robbie Williams cocky joke?
Right? Yeah.
Because maybe we're not coming back for season 2.
Maybe. Yeah, so she tells all these stories about how she tried to murder her ex-boyfriends, and I wrote, I did not see this twist coming.
No.
Then she talks herself into a frenzy, and she gets mad and leaves before Nick can even do anything.
Yeah. I mean, probably best for her.
Yeah, probably. And she says she's gonna leave while they're still friends, and she doesn't have to torch his car or cook his pets. And I said that is a nod to either Single White Female or Basic Instinct. I can't remember which movie it was where the psycho boiled the bunny.
Well, I'm glad that's kind of a reference to something, because I was just like, damn, Sheila is a psychopath, which she kind of is anyways.
Yeah.
So then I wrote, Sheila bounces right into the pit and peels out of the driveway.
Yeah, she does. And with these squealing tires, signals Blossom.
Yeah, so she comes down and asks what happened because she heard her peeling out of the driveway. Blossom was like, oh, I thought you said she was special. And he was like, yeah, special in an axe murderer kind of way. And Nick says that Blossom should basically feel sorry for herself. And again, why does Nick care so hard about this guy breaking up with her? Like, because he does not want her to date at all.
It's such a weird vibe to end this episode. I said there's 1 minute and 40 seconds left with credits.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for a, why don't he love me, man, Fresh Prince moment.
Right.
Right?
It doesn't happen, and it's weird. So Nick says, let's not waste the night. Like, why don't we watch a movie together?
Because then Nick is crying.
There's like this montage of them on the couch, and the movie ends, and Blossom tears up instantly and starts hugging Nick and crying. And Nick almost seems happy that she's finally sad.
Right.
And then the episode basically ends with like a montage of all of the guys in the house consoling Blossom on the couch.
There's a slow dissolve, and she's still on the couch crying to Anthony. And the studio audience laughs, and I wrote, fuck you, studio audience, why is this funny? Slow dissolve, she's crying into Joey. Slow dissolve, she's back crying into Nick, and now Nick is annoyed.
And this is how the episode and the season end.
Screw this guy. Honestly, that's it. That's where we end. Nick made her cry about it, and then got annoyed about her crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what to do with this.
That's what you're planning to people to be like, oh, if we come back for season 2, check us out. Like, this is what you're going to get.
I didn't understand this episode until you mentioned they used the Brenda name, and that's gotta be what this is them just, like, writing nonsense to make the crew laugh. this has to be an episode of inside jokes. Just everything from the weird positioning between like Nick and Anthony all the time to just the over-the-top part with Daphne, you know? Nothing made sense to us, but it was so pointed, just not at the regular audience. Like, all these jokes clearly had meaning. They just didn't have appeal to the general viewer.
I feel like if they could have reordered the episodes, like, there probably is a better episode they could have picked from season 1 to be the finale.
Absolutely. You were right. This is one of the worst episodes of the season.
There you go, man. I've convinced you.
I don't know what else. Again, I was on such a high from our last episode, which was so much fun. And this was just not. Last episode had so many talking points.
The cast was fun.
Oh, the cast was great. It didn't produce as many, like, hilarious laugh out loud moments as other episodes have.
Yeah, thumbs down on this episode for me.
Definite thumbs down. I wonder what happened in between this and season 2. Like, I wonder when the show started getting momentum.
Yeah, I don't know. We already talked about Sheila was played by Jane Leaves.
This is my last note, though. I said she was Daphne from Frasier. She was in The Meaning of Life, Sal.
Was she really?
Apparently.
Crazy.
That blew my mind. Yeah, and she was Marla the Virgin from Seinfeld.
Yep.
This is the last thing I wrote on my notes for season 1 of Blossom. This is a direct copy and paste from IMDb. Leaves also set up the production company Bristol Cities, which is Cockney rhyming slang for titties. I wish I could take the quantum leap back to the beginning of this show and be like, I hated this episode, Sal. I don't know why I thought I liked it. This show deserved so much better for an ending.
I agree. It was a very, very bad season finale and just a bad episode altogether. Let's move to our season 1 woe counter.
Okay.
We have Joey at 5, Anthony at 2, and Alf at 1. How's that sound?
It sounds great.
Our season 1 pit characters.
Oh, here we go. Do it, buddy.
We have Agnes. We have Bobby.
Woo!
We have Elaine. We have Stephanie the kleptomaniac. We have the tag team of Doris and Adrian. We have the mother, Pinhead Fred. We have Pinhead Fred. We have Bambi the hooker.
Yeah.
We have Jeff. We have Arlene McCafferty.
Pour one out for Arlene.
And this episode, another tag team. We have Ricky and Sheila.
Those are the most 90s names I've ever heard in one list. You know, we didn't set out to rag on this show. Actually, I don't really know what we set out for. We set out to review Blossom. And right off the bat, we were so pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
And the journey had so much momentum. And to end on such a crap episode that just was nonsensical, had no connection to any of the previous 12. And there was no morals, no, like, championing of feminism. It was crap. Yeah, this show deserved so much better of an ending for season 1.
Yeah.
And, like, screw the writers if they really thought this was it, so they just decided to, like,
they just tanked it,
make themselves laugh.
Yeah. Well, it's called Love Stinks, but I think this episode stinks.
Boom! Nailed it.
Next episode, we'll be talking about season 2, man. Season 2, episode 1. It's called Second Base.
Uh-oh.
We finally arrested Uncle Touchy.
Oh, no! I just spit beer on my carpet, Sal. Thank you. Uncle Touchy on Blossom. Uncle Touchy, for real?